Hello everyone, Dan here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for Shogun Episode 2, Servants of Two Masters. Let me give you a quick synopsis for this episode. In this episode, Blackthorn's arrival in Osaka stirs up a hornet's nest of rivalries. Also, Mariko is trapped between her cause and her faith when she must translate for the barbarian in Lord Toranaga's custody. So this episode really focuses a lot on exploring the character of Yoshi Toranaga. So let's go over the cast real quick, and then we'll get into the review. This episode stars Hiroyuki Sanada as Yoshi Toranaga, who is kind of one of our main protagonists. We also have Cosmo Jarvis as John Blackthorn, who is the barbarian, as I referred to in the synopsis. Anna Sawai as Toto Mariko, who is our translator. We'll get into a lot of the details for her as well. Tadanobu Asano as Yabushige, and then Takehiro Hira as Ishiro Kazunari, who is one of the regions that is kind of, I would say he's probably one of the main antagonists from what I feel so far in this issue, right? Or in this episode. The first episode gave us a lot of world building, and I think this second episode really serves as more of a let's find out and let's build up everyone's motivations. Let's build up the animosities. It also has one of my favorite scenes that I've seen on TV this year, as things kind of like unravel and unveil. So yeah, this was a great follow up to the pilot episode of this series. So if you haven't seen those, both of the episodes are a little bit over an hour, or maybe very close to it. They're like an hour and 30 on TV, but that includes commercials and all that, and also some like after credits type of like behind the scenes of the episode. So make sure to watch all that stuff. I think it's really interesting. We get a look at the upcoming season as well. So these two episodes were released in tandem, but everything after this, I believe we'll just have one a week. So stay tuned to the channel. I'll keep talking about Shogun because I think it may be my favorite show that came out in February, and we're cutting it close towards the end of the month. So all right, so we flash back to the passing of the main ruler. We get to see how much he appreciated the the relationship that he had with Yoshi, who ends up becoming kind of one of the regents from the Council of Regents that takes place. Um, all this while the boy grows up. This kind of leads us to a little bit of our predicament, but we do see that the previous ruler was pretty smart. He knew that if he only named one successor while his heir grew up to be of age, that would just pretty much be kind of a death sentence and a torture for who I believe and perceive as his friend Yoshi. So instead, he forms this council. Now, what's really interesting is because the Catholic Church, and the expansion by the Portuguese is really driving a lot of this stuff, especially a lot of the animosity with the other regions, and it's kind of out forthright for the viewer to see, but obviously within the characters and then the story of the show, it's not supposed to be as overt. Now, things are definitely happening. One of the reasons that the church and the other regions don't want John Blackthorn around is because he has knowledge. He has knowledge of the outside world. Especially the church finds out that he has some specific knowledge that could be very, very damaging for the church. So um, it's really interesting to see how they're trying to play that up while still maintaining their image of the church, right? Because I think a lot of their power comes from these people having been converted to Catholicism and having faith that the church is only out to do what's best for them. So there's a really cool sequence where there's a translator that comes in to kind of help Yoshi communicate with Blackthorn, and it very seamlessly transitions into them having a conversation. Right, once we establish that there's a translator there, you can just kind of keep going. I will say I don't mind reading the captions. I think that subtitles are fine. I'm not a very big fan of the aesthetic choice that they made for the subtitles. I didn't know that was just a thing from episode one, and I talked much about that during my review of episode one, but it really stood out to me in this one because we were seeing, obviously John was speaking English, which is supposed to be Portuguese, and then Yoshi was speaking Japanese. That was subtitled. But yeah, the actual font choice and colors, it's not my favorite. I think I think there are better subtitles out there. I don't know. It just kind of feels a little bit out of place. That's probably my biggest complaint of the show. So that's pretty good. I think the show's really firing on all cylinders. Um, we get to see a little bit more of Mariko, her relationship with her husband, and I think that's going to come into play because of how important Mariko is to Yoshi, the lord of that castle. We get to see a little bit more of these other regions and their relationship, their animosity, all the little things they're planning behind Yoshi's Toranaga's back to try to take and all that. There's a really cool, I'll call it the bandit ambush scene, which I think was very well executed. There's a lot of action there, and I think there's also a lot of intrigue that kind of comes out of that. But my favorite scene of the show was in this beautiful garden. John starts spilling all the secrets of the church and the Portuguese, and this is where Yoshi and the rest of the people that are with him kind of find out the true motivations of the Portuguese. Now, if you kind of just know a little bit about history, any like a lot of these a lot of these countries that were colonizing different places were not doing it with the best of intentions. They were there to establish the rule. Now, Portugal, in this case, and in this story, is being a little bit more underhanded by coming in as the church, but their intentions are definitely the same. They view all the lands that they're conquering as uneducated savages because they don't have religion. They definitely see them as lesser, but obviously this doesn't fall well when Joshi and his people find out. Obviously this isn't going to go well, so it'll be really interesting. Just the scene, the tension of that scene, of that discovery, of that revelation. I think it's also played out really well for John, so it's kind of put him in a little bit of a better spot. There's also a lot of action in this second episode, and I feel like we're just kind of getting started with that. I can't wait to see what those larger set pieces that we saw in the preview are going to look like. um, we've also established that there's a samurai armor kind of hanging around, and I can't wait to see that in action. I think that's going to look very cool. So yeah, aesthetically, the show continues to be like some of the best stuff I've seen this year. And then story wise, is just a lot of fun. So really, really on board with this show. I can't wait to see what happens next. Stay tuned on the channel. I'll be covering more of these episodes as I get to watch them. So if you are enjoying Shogun, let me know down in the comments. As always, thank you for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we go live. That is most Saturdays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Stay tuned. We have more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, all that fun stuff here in the channel. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye bye.